slower, practicing those skills. But I thought it was a good response. I'm going to give you a 5 on that, just because of I missed some of the selling points, right? I thought those could have been clearer.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I think we're down to Richard.
Yes, Daniel.
Hi, Richard. So tell me why I should travel to Myanmar.
Yes, I wanted to invite you to Myanmar because Myanmar has a lot of different cultures and beaches and rivers. And location is nearly Singapore and Thailand. You can come from Singapore and Thailand directly to Myanmar. Yes, in Myanmar, you go everywhere. You can see full of history pagodas and natural places and natural forests. The weather is normal. And the main point is in Myanmar, you go everywhere, no need to keep touch. So you can see a lot of places are for free. So that's why I invite you to visit Myanmar.
All right. Everyone give Richard a round of applause. Excellent response from Richard. He's giving him, you want to give yourself a round of applause too. That was a really good response. I'm going to tell you why, because first of all, you hit all 3 points. But I'll get to that later, because something that I noticed you've improved on over the past couple of weeks, right? Before you were sort of constantly, I guess you constantly maybe wanted to say something. So you would say something like, okay, I want to invite you to Myanmar because you want to, and you've stopped that. Okay. So now it's a very clear response all the way through. You're not stopping. And if you are stopping, it's only briefly, and you're not filling in with the same word over and over again. You're saying it's a very easy to follow response. So I want to invite you to Myanmar because we have great history, we have great nature, and then you sold it very well. And then you talked about, again, sort of like what Cod did, you talked about how everything's cheap and everything's free. That's a great way to get people to come to your country. And then you described where it is. You said it's near Singapore and Thailand, and then you can get there directly from those countries. Again, just a very small thing. Describe how you can go around the country once you get there. But I don't think it hurt your response at all, because it was, like I said, it was very good, very clear. And another thing that I saw improvement on is you used to go on to different topics that weren't connected with the response. This time you were laser focused on the response, and that was excellent. You answered every part of my question, and that was really good. I think that's a 7, because that was just, I'm very impressed with the improvement you've made. So that was very good.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So after those 2 exercises, does anyone have any questions about maybe a comment I made, or something with vocabulary or pronunciation? Anything I can help with?
Yes, Daniel. You say, Yusef, I use because how can I use other focus?
So what you did in your last response just now was really good. That's what if you could do that every time, you'd be amazing, right?
I mean in this sentence I use because. In next sentence I use so, however, like this, right?
So I don't saying because or any, that was just an example I used. You've used other words, and just whatever the last one is on your mind, you just repeat that until you get to your next topic. I would not do that at all. So if you're looking for, I mean, whatever you were doing on the last response was excellent, right? And even the earlier ones today were very good. Yeah, I saw the improvement all through today.
Oh yeah.
So if you feel the need to, if you're trying to think to your next topic, it's better probably to not say anything and have it be silent for a little bit than to repeat the same word over and over again. Because when you're saying the same thing over and over again, you can distract yourself and you can distract the person listening. At least if it's silent, you can think clearly and the other person can listen clearly to what you're saying. So I would rather have maybe an awkward second or two of silence than hearing you say the same word over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, today was great. So it's clearly you're understanding, you're understanding the pace a lot better. So I don't have any comments on that today, but I'm just saying that I've seen that improvement over time. So good job.
Yes, thank you.
Any other comments or questions or anything like that?
Hello, Daniel.
Yeah.
What's the difference between traveling and tourism?
Good question. So tourism is when you want to travel, or tourism is still traveling. I guess a good way to describe it is tourism is a type of traveling, but traveling is not always tourism. Does that make sense? I'm going to write that in the chat. It might be helpful for you to see that. So tourism is traveling, but not all traveling is tourism. So if everyone could see that in the chat, that's probably the best way to explain it. So tourism is like going on a holiday, right? So if I want to go to the beach, that's considered tourism because I'm doing it for some sort of pleasure. Now that can also be going to a historical site. So going to see an ancient pagoda would be considered tourism still. And that pagoda would be considered a tourist site or a tourist attraction. Or the beach might be considered a tourist attraction as well. So, but traveling can be, like I said in the beginning, there's many reasons why people travel. So they might travel to see family or for work. They might go to a work event or something, or they might be traveling for a concert. That's sort of on the line of tourism or not, but things like visiting family or sometimes in the US, we have to travel to a funeral or a wedding or something. Those would not be considered tourism. That's more just traveling for a personal reason. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And any other questions? If not, I have a final exercise of short questions that we'll do connected to these topics.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
You may continue.
You can continue? Okay. So, and then if at any time I'm talking or something and you have a question, feel free to also throw it in the chat and I can address it later as well. So the final exercise, I'm going to ask everyone short questions about traveling, and they're all going to be different. So you guys aren't going to get the same question to each of you. So we'll start with, I want to start with here. We'll start with Eric.
Yes.
So Eric, I want you to tell everybody, and it doesn't have to be a long response, but tell everybody what your favorite mode of travel is and why.
Daniel.
Would you like me to repeat that or rephrase it?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your favorite way to travel? Is it a boat? Is it a plane? And so tell everyone what it is and explain why.
Yeah, I prefer to by train. Yeah, it can take by a lot of friends good 4 or 5, it can make me happy and we can enjoy each other and it's the train. We can do everything like that. And then is there like we can buy some food or is there a lot of thing by train is better than I think like
Okay. So I think for a question like this, it's important to keep it short, right? You don't need to explain so much for a question like this because it's a short question, so short response, right? There's not a lot of parts to it. So you said the train is your favorite way of traveling. To explain why, all you have to say is what you said at the end. Because you can buy stuff on the train, or you can buy stuff. I think that's what you said. Buy it on the train, or buy it near the train, or something. Something like that is a perfectly good reason why you'd like taking the train. So that's all I'm asking. If you had said my name is Eric, my favorite mode of transportation or favorite way of traveling is the train. And the reason for that is because I can buy stuff on the train when we're moving. Perfect. That's a 7 right there. It kind of seemed like you were just trying to think of a reason why you like taking the train. And it wasn't clear. So for a score, I'm going to give that a 5. So I think there's some improvement there, but good effort. We'll move on to Tazy.
Yes.
All right. So Tazy, I want you to describe some place that you want to go that you haven't been.
Yes, I want to go to New York. And because I think New York has a lot of opportunity and to go, and I want to see a lot of culture, and because many people from other countries came to New York because of opportunity. So I want to go to New York.
Great. That's a 7. Not much more to say. You said you want to go to New York. You explained why, because of all the opportunity and culture there. You answered my question. So that's a 7. Good job. And it was very
Thank
clear, understood everything. And it's good you're excited about New York because I'm not so excited about New York anymore after living here. So we'll move on to Ka.
Yes.
So Ka, I want you to explain or give us a reason why you like or dislike walking to go somewhere.
Walking to go somewhere.
Yeah, explain why you like walking or dislike walking.
Oh, yeah. I like walking because walking is good for healthy. Good for healthy. That's why. And walking is not need many. That's why I choose. That's why I like walking. Yes.
I think that's a 7. That was really short, really good. And you gave us 2 reasons. You said, I like walking because it's good for my health and it's cheap. It doesn't cost anything to walk somewhere. So that was a really good response. You didn't talk on and on and on about walking. You gave us a really quick response. And if we were in a conversation, I can then say, oh yeah, I like walking too, because I don't have to spend any money. And then I might, that was a good way to continue a conversation. So that's a 7. I mean, it was, you answered the question. It was very clear. No problems with that at all.
Thank you.
So we can move on now to Tutu.
Yes.
So Tutu, I want you to tell me about a country that's near Myanmar and just talk a little bit about what you know about it.
Can you repeat?
Do you want me to
Can you
repeat that?
Yeah, yes.
So I want you to tell us about a country that's near Myanmar and describe what you know about it.
Oh yes. I want to destroy China. Yes, I like this place because it's another place. It's another place. It's a big.
I think you've cut out a little bit.
So
wanna sub-
Daniel, could you change another person for a while?
Yeah. I think there's some connection issues. It's all right. We can move on now to Zoli.
Yes, Daniel.
So Zoli, I'm going to give you that same question. I want you to talk and describe about a country that's near Myanmar.
I want to describe about my country. Most of the people call Myanmar is a golden land because we have our own culture, own traditional things, so own traditional drugs. So in we are combined all of the Buddhist country. So that's why I want to describe my country like golden.
Okay. So what I was actually asking was for you to talk about a country that's near Myanmar. So not Myanmar itself, but talk maybe about Thailand or India or something. But so not talk about Myanmar. But the reason I didn't stop you was the pace was much better. You were talking at a much clearer and clearer pace. So I liked that. That was really good. And your response was good. It just wasn't responding to the question I asked. So I'm going to give you a 5 for that reason. But I liked how the pace on that question was much better.
Yes, sorry for my.
No. Don't apologize. You're learning. It's fine. And then we'll go. We can go now to Chu.
Your turn.
What? Sure.
It's 2 or 2.
Chu, and it looks like two. We'll do Tutu next because she's on the. I think she's on someone else's camera now, which is good. But for your question, I want you to tell us about a food item in your country that you want everyone to try.
In my country,
A specific food item.
it's called Bei Bao. It's a kind of traditional food, and it's made with the tofu and kenya sauce. It's the taste is really good, and I have tried once before, but I want to try again.
Excellent. I think that's a 7. You answered the question. You explained what the food item is, what the ingredients are, and that you're excited to try it again. If we were in a conversation, I can then ask you more questions about it, or tell you about a food item I like, or something like that. So really good response. No complaints at all. Good job. Okay. So we'll go back to Tutu now that she's on the camera.
Yes.
Yes. So so I want you tell us something that you like or dislike about riding in a car.
Riding in the car.
Yeah. So tell us something you like about it or dislike about it.
I just like about this because it's this minimum. When you ride the car, the whole day you can have problem. So I just like riding.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. It was that if you ride in a car, you don't like it because there can be a problem.
Yes.
Okay, so trust me, I understand that. You can get a flat tire, or you can be in traffic, or there's all sorts of problems. Just make sure, explain that a little bit more. So say
No.
there could be a problem like a flat tire or getting in traffic or or something else that comes to your mind. So just be a little bit more clear because there can be a problem with a boat, right? The boat could leak or the airplane could be delayed or something. So make sure it's a little bit more clear than that.
Yes.
So I'll give you a 5, but just, yeah, saying that there's a problem is a little too vague. It's a little too broad, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's between Richard and Ella. So we'll go Richard this time.
Yes.
So Richard, I want you to tell us somewhere that you would want to travel for business.
I want to only in my country or other country. I can't say.
Up to you. Where somewhere anywhere in the world that you would like to travel for a business reason.
Yes, I want to go Thailand because Thailand is very famous in the world for relaxing, right? And I hear so freedom, no law, you can do anything. So I really interesting do business in here, and and also I really interested in their they offer tourism to their country like this, and they get a lot of tourism money to develop their country. So I really interested in Thailand.
Okay.
So yes, thank you.
All right. So a couple things. One, the response was good. It was clear. I understood you wanted to go to Thailand because there were no laws, right? So you could kind of do whatever you want for your
Yes.
business, which I thought was interesting. But something I noticed was you were doing that old habit again of repeating yourself. You said for the one, it was like maybe let's go, or something like that. You repeated yourself a couple of times. So it's important that, but it wasn't, you didn't do it throughout the response, but it's important that as soon as you finish a sentence, just move on to the next topic. Again, if there's a little bit of silence in there, that's fine. That's better than repeating the last word over and over again. So response-wise, I'm going to give that a 6. Another thing that you can do is just make sure you're clear on each word, right? So there were some words in there that were a little hard to understand because I think you just weren't pronouncing them as properly as you could have. Like I said, I understood most of it, so it wasn't really a problem, but sometimes it could be a really important word that you're doing that on. So, but good response. No real problems there, and I understood why you wanted to go to Thailand.
Oh yes.
So the final person is Ella.
Yes, Daniel.
So Ella, I want you to explain. Myanmar is near China, right?
Yes.
So explain how I could get from Myanmar to China.
To China or from China?
Starting in Myanmar and then going to China.
Yes. I want to explain to go to China. You can take the car also because from the city or the Myanmar or the Myanmar. You can take the car also. You can take the plane to China.
Okay, so it seemed like when you were explaining taking the car, there was like a city you were talking about, right?
Yes.
Like a border city.
Yes.
Make sure that you're very clear on the name of the city because it didn't really make, I couldn't understand what the name of the city was. And you're sort of giving me directions here. So if I'm like, oh, well, there's some border city I have to go to, but I don't know the name. So make sure you're very clear on the pronunciation of that. So so that the person can understand. And then when at the end, when you said you can take a plane to China, maybe say from Myanmar, you can take a plane to Beijing, or you can take a plane to Shanghai, or if you know of any other Chinese cities that you can take a plane to, because that will make it clearer, because China is a huge country, right?
Yes.
So there's many cities I can fly to. So it would help me understand a little bit more where I could go in China from Myanmar. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you, Daniel.
So your response was very clear. So not really any problems with that. Just make sure, again, the key words, make sure that you're really pronouncing those as well as you can. If you're like, remember a week or two ago, we were talking about like the B sounds, breakfast or whatever. If you're mispronouncing that, that's not as important as like the name of a city or a location, right? So I'm gonna give you a 6, I think, on that one. But just
Yes.
keep in mind those suggestions, okay?
Yes.
All right. So a couple minutes left. I'm just going to go over a few things that I noticed today, good things I noticed, and then 1 or 2 things I want you to work on. So some good things I noticed, everybody improved. So this was a really big improvement for everybody. I don't think I gave anyone lower than a 5, and there were only a few of those the whole day. So that was really good. The pace was excellent. Everyone was very clear. Everyone was understanding the prompts very well. Everyone was understanding the questions. And everyone was answering each part of the question a lot better than we had been in previous weeks. So that shows that you are comprehending you're understanding what I'm saying a lot better than you have in previous weeks. So not only are you understanding it, you're also more confident. I'm noticing that you guys are more confident in your explanations. So you're not just saying, well, you can take a plane or you can take a bus. You're adding on information, which shows me that you're a lot more confident in your abilities to speak English, which is really awesome. And then you're understanding all of the vocabulary, and you're using it in your responses. So that's also really good. Something that we can work on. Again, some of you, the pronunciation. I think we can move into more focusing on the pronunciation. So certain words. Today, I didn't really notice it with anything specific, but knowing that city names, specific places, those things are really important to pronounce correctly, even if you have to really slow down to get the pronunciation in. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, there was the city names, and then what was it? Anyway, nothing too important, but just understanding that certain things are your native language. Anytime you're using a word from the native language, make sure that also is slowed down and very clear, so that the person who doesn't know the language at all can maybe replicate that and understand, and add it to their own vocabulary, right? They can understand what it means. If you're just sort of rushing through that, it doesn't make any sense. And then they can't use that, right? And then they can't pass on your language to someone else. So, but really, really good job today. I was very impressed. You all did very well. So it's very clear that you're making a lot of progress here. So that's great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Daniel.
So yeah, thank you so much, Daniel. And now all students, time to say goodbye. Even though, yeah, I know that you are like a free soul again. And Daniel, I would like to apologize to you again because of my connection is a little bit messy, and I really want to apologize again.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Like I said, I was early today, so but no, not a problem at all. We all did a good job today. So
Yeah, thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. So now,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Mr.
Daniel,
Daniel,
and
and give a big applause to Daniel.
Thank you.
goodbye,
Yes, thank
everyone.